Hello folks, it is Wednesday, March 8th, 2017. We're already nearly to mid-March. It seems like forever since I last talked to you guys, and time is going so fast simultaneously. And a lot to cover in just a 30-minute video going out to 10,000 completely unique souls. So I'm gonna go ahead and say good luck to me, and we're just gonna go for it. So, yeah, we're in the midst of eclipse season still. About a couple weeks ago, we had our solar eclipse in Pisces. Then on March 1st, Sun went over Neptune. We've got Jupiter stationed opposite to Uranus. We've got a Venus retrograde, a Mars-Venus mutual reception. So let's just start at the top. Solar eclipse in Pisces. I apologize. I was a little out of it being sick in the last video, and I wish that I talked more about this eclipse. It's very powerful. This South Node solar eclipse in Pisces, it has for the last year and a half. These eclipses have really been stirring up a lot of murky, confusing, foggy, surreal, bottomless pit type feelings and experiences. And yeah, I mean, this last couple weeks have been a blur, and it's gonna stay exciting for quite a while. I mean, we've got a Venus retrograde going into mid-April. We've got the Moon's North Node in Virgo up until May 10th. And we've got, of course, a full moon in Virgo coming up this Sunday, March 12th at 11 a.m. on the East Coast. So, Virgo, Pisces, this is a polarity that's being very stirred up by this eclipse season, by this full moon. So eclipses are caused by the moon's nodes. The moon's nodes have to do with where the moon passes, that magical line of the ecliptic, having to do with fate, the relation of the past and the future. And these eclipses tend to stir up a lot of this change and transformation in a somewhat mystical, destined type of way. And with this solar eclipse on the South Node, it's bringing up a lot of past dynamics related to our own innocence, our own spiritual beliefs, our own orientation to the whole, the big picture. There's a lot that's happening that can play out in a lot of diverse ways. With the North Node in Virgo, up until May, though, it's a pretty concise, clear direction with this full moon in Virgo this weekend that we are completing this nearly year and a half of getting our shit together. Virgo is about what is real, what is practical, what is in this earth. Virgo is an earth sign ruled by Mercury, a very analytical, rational, practical, measuring, scheduling. Is it working? Can it be improved? And so, first thing, the next several months is completing this period of getting it together, improving our lives, restructuring, rescheduling, and it's gonna stay like, can we get as much healing, as much fixing, and make it work as smoothly as we can? In the next 3 months, it's like, go for it, do it. There can be pressure, there can be things getting wrapped up, getting stirred up, oh yeah. And Virgo is what? Healthy boundaries. It's making sure that our rituals and routines are healthy and working practically for us. And this solar eclipse in Pisces just a couple weeks ago is making this difficult, you know? It's making everything not concisely dissected and labeled, but rather murky and bleeding through, and feelings and insecurities and the sensation of wanting to hide or run away or escape is a lot of this South Node and Pisces theme we've been dealing with the last year and a half. And the challenge has been, get out of our heads in the sand. Make it something that is tangible, that is real, that is working. And so this full moon this weekend is going to square Saturn, is going to be opposite to Chiron, asteroid Pallas Athena, and Mercury in Pisces. This is definitely going to be coming in the next couple weeks, as this Saturn Chiron square. That is one of the major descriptive transits of 2017. And again, one of the themes is getting our shit together. And there can be pressure, and there can be insecurity in doing this. And it is an opportunity for a lot of healing to happen in a short amount of time in a very real and tangible way. And so the opportunity is there, the challenge is there. These can be the best of days, the worst of days. It can be the best of days turning into the worst of days in a shocking, unexpected, illuminating way. Realizations are going on with Jupiter stationed opposite to Uranus. And interestingly, right now we have asteroid Vesta in Cancer stationing direct, creating a cardinal grand cross square to Uranus opposite to Jupiter, opposite to Pluto in Capricorn. Vesta in Cancer is devotion to the family, to our home, to our emotional well-being. Vesta likes to focus there, make it nice, make it clean. Vesta is herself a very Virgo asteroid. I would consider her a co-ruler of the sign of Virgo. And she is square to Uranus, square to Jupiter. This can be like conflicts between our social duties, our exterior obligations to work, to other people, versus our own home, our own family, our own emotional well-being. And there is this steadiness that wants to be there, and this Jupiter-Uranus is this excitement that's stirring everything up. And so we are challenged, again, how to bring it all together. How can we be in a healthy place in relation to ourselves is going to be one of the major themes of this Venus retrograde in Aries for the most part. And even if you're not in a relationship, this Venus retrograde in or out of relationships is about how are we relating to ourselves as individuals. How can we as individuals meet all of our individual desires that will have many different levels and be quite diverse? We have desires for emotional relatedness. We have desires to do our own thing, to have our own space, and to initiate our own direction. And so Venus retrograde began on Saturday, March 4th, and is going to go all the way back to 27 degrees of Pisces on April 15th, conjoined with Chiron. In the midst of that transit back into Pisces, she is going to square Juno, March 14th, and then again later after she turns direct, May 24th. And pretty much all of April, she is going to be stationed square to Saturn. This Venus retrograde is going to be bringing up the Chiron-Saturn square. This full moon in Virgo is bringing up the Chiron-Saturn square. And then the sun on March 14th is going to conjoin Chiron and Pallas Athena. Pallas Athena is the goddess of wisdom. She's moving through the final degrees of Pisces, and she is illuminating Chiron, the wounded healer. We are having an opportunity to see very, very deeply into our own individual as well as collective wounds, and more than likely, we can also see the connections between the two. Like I've been saying all of this year, this Saturn-Chiron square that's going on through 2017 carries a major theme of having to see what we don't like in ourselves and in the world, which is a hindrance, which is a scrape, it's a misfortune, and yet it is a part of our experience and our story and our blossoming and our growth. And so this Chiron Saturn is a maturing rite of passage type of period that we're going through that is initiating us to be powerful authorities in charge of our own individual and collective healing. But in order to do that, we have to get down to business. That means we have to recognize the crumminess that is there. And we can see it in ourselves. It's not just out there in the world. These things are connected. These things are reflected. And I hate to be negative or pessimistic, but it's important, particularly in the spiritual communities and demographic, to be realistic. And so something that a lot of people tell me out of concern, and helpfulness to me is, don't focus too much on the past. The future can be changed. Anything is possible in the future. All very, very true. And it's wonderful that we do get that reminder quite often in the New Age spiritual communities. However, we are also defined by the crummy things in our life. And people don't want to admit that because they're crummy things. The poor childhood experiences, the traumatic past experiences, we don't want to be defined by those things. We don't want to think that something that afflicted us in the past is going to remain with us. And it doesn't, as long as we recognize that it has affected us. We can't sweep these things to the side. We can't avoid that crummy things do define us, because they can define us in a way which is a gift. That is Chiron. Chiron is everything that has sucked, everything that's a hindrance, everything that has hurted you has the potency to be transmutated into a gift. That is a real understanding of spirituality, of love, of compassion, of the nature of reality that oftentimes doesn't get recognized by sweeping what is negative away and saying, oh, well, that's all illusion, etc. We have the capability to heal them, which means taking what is crummy and turning it into something else. But it is the crumminess that gets transformed. It is, you get what I'm saying. It's not thrown out. It is brought in. And that's what's going on with this full moon, with this eclipse season, and with this Venus retrograde, is we are having these dynamics brought to us. We're having them brought to us through reflection with the other, through our dealings with the world, with authorities, with what we're seeing on the news, alerting us what is going on in terms of structures and our culture and our worldly situation. And Venus is going to square Juno and then square Saturn through her retrograde. Yeah, expect the imperfections and be ready to seize them, because they will become gifts to us. So there's a little bit of, it's not always fun and games, but the reason that I feel like it's important to say the crumminess defines you as much as the rest is because that crumminess is only a crumminess until we recognize it as the gift. There is nothing truly out there that is bad, that is evil, that doesn't have a gift inherently a part of it. That is the nature of duality. That is the nature of the reality that we live in. Now, when Venus squares Juno, and the first time is going to be March 14th, Juno's going through Capricorn, Venus is in Aries. This is like, how are we making our relationships function and work? Not only in relationships, but in yourself, and how you're relating to the world is also Juno in Capricorn. It's your worldly duties, it's your work, it's your obligation. Venus retrograde, what we value, what we like, how we are oriented to what we love and what we cherish, what beauty, what love, what relationship, what femininity means to us, can all be evolving and changing at this time. And so as what we like and value changes, so oftentimes the people that we are friends with and sharing with change, so on and so forth. But Mars is the ruler of Aries. Taurus is ruled by Venus. Mars is moving into Taurus tomorrow, and Venus is stationed in Aries, Mars sign. So there is a mutual reception between Mars and Venus. They are in each other's signs. They are looking to each other. They are subtly working together or working in polarity. And what we can say is, here's masculine, feminine themes. With Mars, we get sexual themes. Mars is the physical, assertive, instinctual, biochemical desire and reaction. It is the animal nature within us. Is Mars, is Aries, is where Venus is stationed. And there's many different ways that this is playing out. One of them is the re-empowerment of the divine feminine at the highest octave. There is a re-emergence of femininity. Today is National Women's Day. It's getting a lot of attention. And so this is adjustment between Mars and Venus. Our own masculine and feminine, which might be preferably referred to as yin and yang, so we don't get too distracted by genders and these types of things. Masculine, the outward, radiating, expressing, protective, defensive force is Mars, is Aries. Venus stationed there is inviting all of us to assert that part of ourselves, to protect our own softer, vulnerable qualities. This is playing out in the world by women coming into their power, becoming warriors, and protecting and defending themselves. Women are coming into leadership roles. And so there is this relationship in terms of gender, generally. And what we can say very generally is that, yes, women are coming more into their power after thousands and thousands and thousands of years of prejudice and being inferior, made mainstream by all major religions. And masculinity is being more emotionally expressive, being more vulnerable of the parts in ourselves that we feel insecure about, is what is allowing for this evolution to happen in such a way for each of us as individuals to be empowered in what we truly value and set course in such a way to protect those values, initiate those values. Aries is go to the beat of your own drum. Aries is one person can make a difference in the world. And Venus in Aries retrograde is first and foremostly, you are creating a relationship to yourself, what you value, what you believe in, what you are inspired and motivated by, what makes you come to life is what Venus is exploring and investigating. So we have the opportunity to do some serious readjustments in order to integrate that fire, that purpose, that drive, that meaning in such a way where we can become more confident in ourselves. You don't need the other to tell you what you know in your heart is true, because this is coming from your personal experience. And this is, again, going back to the Chiron Saturn, including the crumminess. Other people may not understand how exactly it is that you were wounded in the past because they don't live in your shoes. That is your private individual initiation for you to blossom into your own individual potential. And maybe if things happen to you that hurt you, you will go off and make a cause or something that is preventing that or helping others with similar things, etc. Chiron is the potential in ourselves to give to others what we have not been given ourselves. Chiron is a mystical, magical healer. And Pallas Athena, another somewhat mystical, magical healer, particularly in the sign of Pisces, is joining Chiron. At the time of this full moon, it's going to be exact on March 15th. And then the sun is on Chiron and square to Saturn the 14th through the 17th. So there is some significant illumination of deeper, potentially uncomfortable dynamics going on, so that way this healing initiation can happen and can continue and can allow us to come into more confidence in ourselves. If other people disagree with you, that may say more about them than it says about you, honestly. If people have a million different opinions about what you are doing, can you just be this scattered, uncertain, wish-washy person forever? No. We need Virgo. We need Aries. These are the assertive, drawing the lines, carving the route type of signs. Virgo is all about handling your energy. How is your energy being managed? Is it getting drained out in this way? Is it bleeding out this way? How are you going to enforce boundaries in a healthy way? So that way you can assert yourself, access your own creativity. Now, we still have relationships, we still have emotional connections, we still have families. And so this Venus, Mars, mutual reception, Venus retrograde, it is a huge theme of mastering the art of union and separation. The dynamic of union and separation, I would say the beauty, the dance, the music, of union and separation is the very foundation of all existence. And I would dare say that there is no problem, therefore, with union or separation. We don't need to feel bad that we need to have time for ourselves in our relationships, and that your partner is doing something different than what you are doing, and that you have different interests and different desires. And so partnership is, like any relationship with anybody, a dance of union and separation. We have things that we do together, we have things that we do separately. This is the nature of life. Even our relationship to God is like this, if we're willing to be honest. We're not 100% spiritual channels. We go off and do things that we want to do, and that's okay, because we're human beings. We came here to experience that dynamic. Venus retrograde is about experimentation. When any planet turns retrograde, it becomes more Uranian, more Prometheus, more breaking the rules, going out of bounds, pushing on the walls and seeing what happens. Trial and error, exploration. In other words, it's not a good or bad pass or fail situation. This is about experimentation and exploration in relationships, so that way we can master the art of union and separation. And we can do it better than how we've ever done it before. There is a harmony between union and separation that we have the opportunity to find and integrate and celebrate. So let's bring it back again. Between all of this Pisces solar eclipse and all of this Aries with Mars and Venus, being in the sign of Aries the last month, it's been this sort of mixed bag of uncertainty, confusion, inadequacy, wanting to run away, things not totally working out the way we imagined, with the pressure, with the energy, with the drive, with the unexpected circumstances and situations, right? It's like we talked about Mars conjoined Uranus and the unexpected and the unpredictable in the last video. And that happened to be the day that there was the Academy Awards mix-up and they gave the best picture to the wrong people, just as an example of that type of dynamic which we've all been experiencing in some way, shape, or form. Well, Mars tomorrow moves into Taurus, ruled by Venus, and that is a gift in many respects, because that energy, that direction, that power becomes a little bit more contained with Mars moving into Taurus. And with Mars and Taurus the next couple months, it's about finding a rhythm, a pace. Taurus is very simple. Taurus is do it yourself. Taurus is just one foot after the next. Virgo, one baby step after the next is how we get this stuff done. All of the distraction, all of the trying to get it all done at once and find the cure-all that's going to cover all of your bases, we can pretty much say is impossible right now. There's too much going on. And so it's really about finding these healthy rituals, Virgo, the schedules, the diet, the routine, everything. I mean, there's Chiron, Pallas Athena going on. This is a lot of healing, realization and discoveries. This is like finding new tools of healing. Go out there and do the thing that you've wanted to do that you haven't. It can deliver. Do your acupuncture, do your yoga, do your breath work, do your diet, do your cleanse. This is the time to do that, because it's going to create a pace. It's going to create a structure that can work practically in the world, in 3D. It's like we kind of want those blinders on a little bit so we can actually stay focused and not get swept away by the Pisces, by the worldly obligations, by the stresses coming from authorities that can come from Saturn and Pluto and Capricorn. And Saturn is stationing this whole month of March at 27 degrees of Pisces, a degree away from the galactic center. And so, I can't say that I'm a master of understanding these galactic center, things in the solar system, but it is a rather astonishing symbol that we see right now. The galactic center is in Sagittarius, because there is a connection here. Sagittarius is the universe. It's the truth that is universal, that speaks for itself, that is self-apparent. It is nature. It is universal laws and principles that govern themselves, not man-made, not invented, not a religion, not a belief system. Nature, Sagittarius, the big picture point of view. Saturn, stationed on the galactic center. The galactic center is the black hole in the center of our galaxy, the pinhole that keeps everything spinning around. Again, we're all connected, we're all one. And Saturn on that galactic center is challenging our beliefs, our truth. That is, the fact that we're all one, does this situation mean that it's all going to take care of itself? I think that this Saturn on the galactic center may also create an experience of disconnect from source. Saturn is like the devil's advocate. Let's challenge our faith. Let's challenge our truth. Do we actually know? Do we actually know how to take care of ourselves? Do we actually know how to run the world? And it's a challenge. When we get cut off from the feeling of being connected or being one with love or one with source, or those angels and guides tapping us on the shoulder and letting us know that we're there. What is it when we don't feel those things? Again, separation. Is this separation bad? Does it mean that we failed? Does it mean that we are being punished? Did we get our truth wrong and now we're just lost? I think that these are some feelings that can be potentially shared by some. Again, this is a very general video going out to 10,000 people. Everybody has unique experiences, so on and so forth, but there are common threads. And this can be one of them, that we are challenged to really see deeply, what is my truth? Venus retrograde, what do I value? What is love to me? What do I want to share with others? What makes me feel good? What makes me feel alive? And how can I draw boundaries? North Node in Virgo, full moon in Virgo, to keep away the distractions, the opinions, the disturbances that are not serving myself. Myself is Aries, is the priority. And then Venus goes back into Pisces mid-March or mid-April, stations on Chiron. When we focus on ourselves and allow ourselves to come into our own healthy zone, that is what gives us the opportunity to see the underlying dynamics that might not have been recognized or there because we were so busy and distracted with all of this other stuff. And so focus on yourself. Practice this in your relationships. Create boundaries intentionally. It says nothing about how much you love or don't love the other, that you're creating intentional separation with them. It is healthy. If we have no separation, we cannot know love. If we have no separation from God, we cannot know God. Separation is not truly something that's bad or evil if it is recognized and used in its natural healthy function, which is experience of life. Find yourself and then bring yourself into the group or the other without having to self-sacrifice anything. Know your truth. When we get disconnected from the truth, when we feel disconnected from our faith, when we're going through an experience of crisis of our faith, what is it but a gift of testing our faith and inevitably showing us what true faith is? Is faith having belief in a concept or an idea or a procedural set of things? This is going to happen on this day. What does belief mean to you? And how is our actual service to other people and to the world as human beings reflecting our truth, reflecting our beliefs? Is that belief in the conceptual really matter if what we're doing in the world is something separate from that? And do we need to have beliefs in various conceptual things if how we are living exemplifies, demonstrates, and distributes what real love is? I might say that spirituality and religion and belief systems are different. They're not the same. And maybe as we're rolling back Venus, and Venus is going into her underworld, and we're seeing, what do I actually want? And the higher octave of Venus is Neptune. Unconditional love, spirituality, God. How can we bring these two together? And Pallas Athena conjoining with Chiron in Pisces is going to illuminate and give us the information, the tools, the insight that we need so long as we are open to it. And being open means admitting everything that's there. We can't ask for help with the crumminess that we're dealing with if we're not admitting that that crumminess is there. If we are already perfect and everything is in order and we already know what the truth is, and yet the world is reflecting back to us something that isn't in alignment with that, then some readjustments can happen. And so I don't want to talk for a full hour. I would love to hear back from you guys because there's so much here. I could never possibly cover the amount that's going on. This is a dense time, and I'm sure that we can experience that. And so, let me know how this resonates with you guys. And in the meantime, let's find win-win solutions for ourselves and others in terms of how we can master the art of union and separation in such a way that is always expanding. It's like Jupiter opposite to Uranus. We can rewrite the rules. We can rewrite the game plan. Wow, I never knew it was so possible to give so much love and attention and time and energy to myself. Like, I never knew I could be so selfish and be so loving at the same time. This is what this is all about. Show what real love is. I am doing a Q&A workshop on the day of our full moon this Sunday, the 12th. It's a $20 fee plus a $2 service charge to bring any questions you have to me. It's very nonchalant. It's just a lot of fun learning from one another, hearing each other's questions, and forming a nice group and some good connections as well. So I hope to see you there, and I'm wishing you all the best through all of this change and excitement.